Hi, this is David Allen Greer for Forward Slash. We're doing an audio podcast this month because both Aaron and I have been traveling in different parts of the world. And as we have toured, we've been looking at the nature of startups, of technology, and the people who push this field forward. Aaron has been in Europe. I have been in the United States, ending up in Seattle at the IEEE meetings. And the question that we've been asking is, what are these people looking for? What's the kind of world they are creating, and how does that world influence our technology? I've really been surprised at the number of new technology firms that I've been seeing that operate now in recycled spaces. I went to see a new startup in an old California sweatshop. I can talk about a research center that's in an old tenement building on the east side of Manhattan that can't possibly have a valid occupancy certificate. And I know of an internet firm that's holding court in the remains of an old mechanic shop. I talked with a former student of mine, Ben, who's working in the middle part of the U.S., and he says very clearly, if I were starting a new tech firm, I'd go to Detroit in an instant. As a native Detroiter, I questioned the wisdom of starting a high-tech firm in the remains of the Motor City, but he had an answer ready. Look, land is cheap, transportation is good, and the state really wants you to succeed. Besides, he added, as if it were something of a party, everyone is going to be there, and no one will be brave enough to bother you.
So David's hearing about Detroit. I'm hearing about Detroit and cities like it around the country and around the world. But my theory is that startups don't enter urban centers to hide, but instead to be inspired. We know that post-World War II America expanded outward and not necessarily upward. The suburbs were first, then eventually, during my childhood, it was the exurbs. Families chose space and manicured lawns over proximity to neighbors or jobs or grocers. You could drive to those places. So there were white picket fences around the homes of budding technologists who were separated from one another by garages. Of course, some of them would repurpose these garages to turn them into labs or offices. And this trend hasn't necessarily stopped. The housing crisis notwithstanding, suburbs aren't exactly empty. But those who are looking for creative environments might not exactly find them within the white picket fences. As David said, last month I was visiting friends in Europe and around the US, and I visited a few who were working in old warehouses. They were sitting in Berlin, Germany, or in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, beneath bold art that sort of hung beneath the exposed pipes and the recycled tables and their laptops just sort of strewn about. They were working hard, these developers and project managers, and they were creating, or at least they were recycling. There's something appealing about building upon the old. Maybe it's that when working in an industry that moves from one trend to the next within days, the building that has persevered through a century is inspiring in a way. Maybe the wide accessibility of past property, intellectual and physical, spurs or triggers some new kind of creation altogether. Or maybe the fact is that this is the same generation that mastered the art of the web video mashup, and we just like the irony.
As we were researching this column, Aaron found a quote on the Harvard Business Review blog. The centripetal force of today's cities is pulling the ambitious and educated back in. Such writers often like to contrast the abstract and virgin spaces of the internet with the absolute physical messes of high technology offices and homes, and, of course, the state of current urban America. The internet today holds a generation of standards and protocols and common software, tools that in some ways really do parallel the Detroit landscapes, that really beg for rebuilding. The new generation of technology leaders might be building the software of tomorrow, but they're also consciously recycling and repurposing the concepts of their parents within neighborhoods that are now constructed by their grandparents. Java's not novel to them, nor is Python or PHP, and certainly not TCP/IP. These have become ancient landmarks on their intellectual landscapes. They're old buildings that provide a home for a generation of repurposers. This has been the audio version of / for July. It is based on an essay that is published in the July Computer Magazine, which is a publication of the Computer Society. If you want to learn more about computer and the Computer Society, you can go to computer.org. If you'd like to get in touch with Aaron or I, you can see our email addresses on the video. Take care. We'll catch you in August.